Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Another update video on my Ultimate Crew Cab project. We got our hay put up and we got our calves weaned, so I'm going to have a little bit more time to work on this thing this week. And hopefully I'm going to show you guys some of the progress I have made on it. I haven't done a lot since the last update video. I think it was like a month or so ago because, you know, I'd have an hour or two to work on it here, a couple hours to work on it there. So not a full-time been able to work on this thing. But I have got some stuff knocked out. So I want to show you guys what I've been working on. Right here we have the hood. On the last episode when you saw this thing, it was just back from the blaster and was just an epoxy primer. And it was a really nice hood to start with, so I'm really lucky that I had this nice hood to start with. There was just a few dents and dings, and a lot of this was actually just manufacturer's defects, and there's just a little bit of waviness in the panel just from generally how they are from the factory. I smoothed some of that out. I didn't want to get too picky. You know, I'm not trying to make a show truck, and I'm having a real hard time struggling with doing good enough for what I'm trying to do, and not knowing the line of where to stop as to doing a hack job versus making a show truck. You know, I'm trying to do somewhere in the middle, and I'm having a hard time, you know, because I'm working on stuff and I'm seeing imperfections and you know, spending hours on trying to make this stuff right. Then I'm like, well, this doesn't, you're not even going to tell anyway, and you know, it's going to be dirty, you know, it's way where you're not going to see it or something like that. So I've been struggling with that, but I think I'm kind of getting there and kind of getting the hang of things and kind of getting stuff knocked out faster. When I started on this, when I was working on the doors, these things right here, it was taking me like a week to do one door, and that's just not going to work. You know, that just take too long to do the whole thing. So luckily I only have probably 3 days in this hood, and I haven't really done much. So I'm still taking a lot of time to do this work, but I'm speeding things up a little bit. So that's the main goal. But yeah, the hood turned out really nice. I still have to sand it all down to get the bite. I can't remember what grit I used before primer. 220? Does that sound right? I have to look at my notes. But I have to see, there's still shiny parts where I haven't even sanded it yet. So and there's actually a little ding right there that I missed right there as I'm looking. Well, maybe it was just the light. But anyway, I'll sand all that stuff down and get it ready. I'll put another coat of primer on it and seal it up, and then I'll do the high build primer and block it all down. I think the last time I talked about doing it on the door to make sure that my bodywork is par, and it turned out really nice, I thought. I do have some spots on here that is spot putty that were some holes I missed. I need to do a better job of making sure I don't miss any pinholes before I prime. But see, there's a little high spot right here, but the high build took care of that, so that's all smooth because it went through the high build into the epoxy. But I'll do another layer of high build and sand this all down. Same with all this. We kind of we smoothed out all the really minor imperfections in this thing, and we'll see how it turns out. But I'm waiting for a better weather day, and I'm going to prime all the doors and the hood, and hopefully the cab at the same time. Before we start talking about the cab, I'm going to go over here to the bed, because the last time we saw the bed, it was the same thing. It was I was still in the bodywork stage, and we had body filler and bare metal showing. And let me turn the light on here for you. So yeah, the bed went the same procedure. I did another layer of epoxy primer to get the bare metal covered up and sealed up. Then I did the urethane primer on top of that and blocked it down. There were some spots in this that I wish I would have worked on some more. This one right here is a high spot, and you can see the primer actually getting real thin right there. So that's kind of a thing that I'm kind of learning, because I should have knocked this down some more so it's not such of a high spot, and then it wouldn't have shown up so much whenever I started blocking. But I'm going to do another layer of primer on this and see how it turns out. Hopefully it's okay. It'll probably be just fine for this truck. Like I said, it's kind of I'm struggling with good enough or you know, not good, very, you know, that kind of stuff. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It blocked out really well, just kind of some spots like that one there. Right here, right now the bed's over here in storage. It's in my 2-post lift bay. But same thing over here. There was just some spots where it's just a little high spots, and I guess that's what you get, but we'll see if we can get those taken care of. I probably also blocked it down a lot more than I should have. You know, I should have stopped sooner and done another layer of primer, but a lot of that was just trying to get rid of the texture and smooth it out. So, you know, I'll sand it down and try to lay it down smoother next time, and it won't be as much blocking to get that texture out of the primer. But anyway, I'm learning, like I said, so I'll get it figured out hopefully before this project ends, or at least I'll get it better, let's say. I may not have it all figured out. There's the old door that we're not using. The cab, I've done just a little bit of here and there stuff on the cab, not a bunch. Since we're doing drive-by-wire on this truck, I filled in the throttle pedal hole and the clutch rods. This is going to be automatic. This is where the clutch rod for the bump side truck would go through. I filled those in just so we don't have to deal with patch holes or anything like that. You know, I'll just fill them in smooth, and they just won't be there anymore. Other than that, what else have I done? I did a little repair work right here. There's a little rust at the bottom of the door here, or the B-pillar. And then just little spots. There was, I don't know what the deal was with this cab. This is the regular cab front half that I used to fix this truck. I don't know what the deal was with all these little holes, but they welded up, and the guy that welded them up wasn't the best welder, and there was some pinholes. So I re-welded those. Same thing with this right here. They welded this into the trans tunnel, and now the cover doesn't fit, so I'm going to either cut this out or see if I can make it work. This was originally a low hump truck, so like a 3-speed column shift truck, probably F100. So it has a low hump. It didn't have the high hump, and it has been cut out. If you can see here, this is not the factory cut out, and it doesn't have all the holes for this thing. So that's why I have this cover in here. I need to fix that so it sits down in there, and I need to drill the holes for all the holes to hold the high hump cover down. Stuff like that we're still working on. But another thing I have to do on the cab here is all of the seam seals everywhere in it. So they were all cracked out. So like right in here, this is all seam sealed. Like back in here, it's all seam sealed as well. And of course the drip rail and all that stuff is going to be kind of a pain to deal with, but it's just something you got to do. I have most of it dug out. I should have done this before I sent it to sandblasting. But that kind of stuff, you live and learn. So same here, have that all dug out, and right here, and I think there's some, like right here, this was seam sealed. I have to do the floor where we welded it together. All of that's going to take a bunch of time and prep work, basically. Another thing I want to do is I have lizard skin sound deadener and insulation I want to do on the inside of the cab. So I'm going to do the floor with that. And I also got Raptor liner to do the bottom side of the cab. I'm not sure where I'm going to end that. That's another thing I've been kind of trying to figure out in my head what I'm going to do. I think I am going to end it right here. So at this seam, this is another spot I have to, what am I trying to say? Seam seal this channel right here. But I think I'm going to end the Raptor liner here and have this painted, because you can kind of see this, and I'd much rather be body color. So I'm going to end the Raptor liner here and paint this, and it'll have the insulation on the inside for the firewall pad. So it'll have some insulation there and keep the sound deadening down. And I'll have it that lizard skin on the inside as well. But I'm going to do the Raptor liner on the bottom of the cab, just to kind of, for one, deaden things, and for two, protect the bottom of the cab. If you've ever driven these old trucks on gravel roads and stuff, and you throw rocks up and it hit the bottom of the cab, it's pretty noisy. So trying to kind of deaden all that kind of stuff so you don't really hear it as much, and kind of protect the cab a little bit better. The bottom side of the bed is something I'm not sure. I mean, I don't really need to do that to the bottom side of the bed because you're not going to feel it. But then, do I want it all to match, or do I just want to paint the bottom side of the bed white or leave it in primer? I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm kind of leaning now towards just doing Raptor liner so it all matches, and so the paint shop doesn't have to deal with flipping the bed over and painting the underside of the bed and stuff, or something that I'm not going to care about as much. Because remember, this isn't a show truck; it's a driver, so I'm kind of leaning towards that Raptor liner just because it's a driver truck and it'll help protect it a little bit more. But also have the fenders here. These are a couple of OEM fenders I have. I was going to get some aftermarket fenders because the ones that were off this truck were rusted out, obviously. So, but those were on back order last time I was ordering parts, and of course now they're not. But I don't want to order just the fenders and deal with pay more on shipping and stuff. So I'm using these OEM fenders. I'm robbing them off another project I have, and then next time I order parts, I order some fenders and use that on the other project. So we're just kind of borrowing some parts, and same thing over here, borrowing some parts as well. The tailgate and the ashtray and the steering wheel cover. I gotta get those painted, as well, because they gotta be body color. Same thing with the glove box lid and the stone deflector. I'm actually ordered a new one of these. This is off the F-26 Highboy truck. I'd much rather keep the OEM parts for that truck. So this is going back to that truck. They came back in stock, so I'm not borrowing that anymore. But yeah, all this stuff, getting that all figured out. There's a bunch of all that little stuff you got to figure out. But I'm going to get going on the cab and see if I can get this thing close to primer, so I can do all of this primer work at once and then start blocking. So that'll be my life for the next couple weeks. I'm hoping to get everything to the painter at least by the end of September, whatever month you're seeing this in. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to get after it, guys. I'm going to fill you guys in a little bit later on and see how I'm coming along. Hey, guys. Well, doing a little bit of just random work here in the cab. Like I said, getting this thing ready for paint. And this truck has a cargo light, if you look. So it has a cargo light up there. So that means it has to have a switch for the cargo light in the dash, and not all trucks had these. If you remember on the way back when, previous episodes back about a year ago now, I cut the front half of this crew cab out, and this is actually a regular cab front half. So this dash is not original to the crew cab. So it didn't have the correct hole up here for the cargo light. But I was looking up there and said, oh, it already has a hole. So somebody must have drilled a hole. So I'll just, it wasn't the right size. I'll just drill it bigger. For the cargo light needs a 9/16 hole, and that's a half-inch hole. But then I got to looking a little bit closer and pre-fit and everything, and that hole is off of the center line there. You see the center line of these two holes. This would be the cigarette lighter. This would be the flashers or the choke on an early truck. And then this would be where the cargo light goes. But unfortunately, it is off center line there. So the switch would be, it would look goofy next to the flasher there. So I don't really have an easy way of fixing that. If it was this was all loose and stuff, I just put this in my mill, and that thing is easy to hog out a hole, and especially an offset hole. Just use a end mill cutter and drill that hole. But since it's offset, it's going to be really hard to enlarge that hole to make it fit that 9/16 and be correct, because I'd have to move it up, and there's just the spot where the center would have to be is a hole there, basically. So anyway, what I came up with is I have some plugs that are just for filling round holes, and the problem is I don't have a 1/2 inch one, so this is actually a 3/4. So I think I'm going to hog that hole out to 3/4, weld that in, smooth it all up, and then re-drill a 9/16 hole on center for the switch. So we're going to see how that turns out. All right, guys, got a unibit here. I think that's going to be the easiest to enlarge that hole up there to 3/4. Just got to make sure I don't go over 3/4. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm going to stay out of this the hump here in the bottom of the dash, because that would complicate things for sure. So I'm going to try to creep up on that 3/4 and see how it goes. Like I said, now it's 1/2 inch, so I'm going to jump to we got 5/8. This does not even have a 9/16. 5/8 and then 3/4, so just 2 steps. There's the first step, but I'm going to make sure. What did I do with my plug? There it is. Yeah, we still need to go one more step, so that's 5/8, and we'll step it up to 3/4. There's 3/4. Yep. And our plug fits perfectly. So I'm going to weld this thing in, and then we can drill our new hole. All right, well, I got the hole all welded up, and then have it marked up to where it should be, and it was actually too far over. So if you see here, you can kind of see some of the weld. You know, that's where the hole was, but the point where we need to drill a hole is actually a little farther to the inboard. So we'll get that hole exactly where it needs to be. We also have to drill a little hole. I put this thing back together, but see, there's a little tab right there, and that goes through this to keep the cargo light thing up top, which I could grind that off and just tighten it up and it would never be a problem. But it won't be very hard. Just drill a small hole downhill here, and that just registers your dial there, so it's at the top. But we'll get that drilled out, and then we'll see how it fits. Well, guys, I think I got it taken care of. I got the holes drilled, and I got a little bitty hole, if you can see that there, drilled for the little registering little pin there for that. And I also had to enlarge the hole here because this is a 69 dash, what this truck came out of, and it had a choke cable here, and it is a smaller diameter than this flasher switch, which what I have here. This would be what's in the 70 and up trucks, because the 69 and earlier had a choke cable here, and the flasher was in the glove box. So I had to drill that out to a 1/2 inch to fit that, and we'll see if everything fits here. I'm going to try to assemble it all. I have that other switch there so I can make sure the alignment is right and how all that's going to work. Hopefully I got everything lined up right. We'll put the switch in. There actually is a special tool to put these in that's got these little tabs that you spin this with. I should probably get one, but I don't have one. I've always just used like a screwdriver or something. Like that, like so. It'll work for today because we don't have to get it super tight, just enough to stay in there. Missed the hole. That'll be good enough for now. And then this guy goes like that. We have our ring and then our little nut thing. Let's see, yeah, that's about good. So how'd I do? I don't think that's too bad. I was kind of worried that this one was ended up a little bit too high. It might still be a little bit, but I don't think it's enough that you can notice. That discoloration from the welding kind of makes it look a little goofy, but I think it did all right. So that's another job tackled on this thing. There's a lot of that kind of stuff, just little bitty stuff like that that I have to do before it goes to paint that just takes up a time, because that was several hours this morning that we worked on that, but we'll get all that stuff knocked out. So I'm going to work out some more of that kind of stuff and see how far we get along. Well, I have the door hung on here. I think I'm going to put the doors on this thing when I take it to paint. So I have the door hung on here because I have to, if I'm going to do that, I have to get the alignment and everything set prior to going to paint. And to do that, I need the door seals. Well, I pulled this door seal off of a 96 truck I have out in the yard there. And I think I'm going to end up using these. They don't glue in like the originals. They just have the metal like clip-on style. And it works pretty good. The seam here where the scuff plate goes is going to be kind of interesting. I'll probably have to end up cutting or bending that metal piece out so it'll get laid in there and be able to go on the bottom there. But overall, I was pretty happy with that. These are pretty pliable. Of course, this is an old seal. I got new ones coming. But hopefully that makes the door shut nice and not have to shut it too hard like a lot of trucks do with new seals. So I thought it turned out pretty nice. It's still way out of adjustment. I still have to adjust the door. But I'm going to do that after I do all the body work on the cab. So I'm going to take this door back off. But I just wanted to see if these door seals are going to work before I ordered them. Thought I would show you guys that. So I guess now I'm going to go do some body work on that hood and see if I get that hood in primer. So I can get that knocked out, and I want to try to do the fenders and get that knocked out. And so all the extra stuff will be done, and all I have to focus on is the cab. So the cab and the doors, basically everything that's on the cab part. The bed is ready to go, other than I need to finish blocking it. But since it's already in the blocking stage, I've just kind of been waiting so I can do all that once, so I can kind of all do it all the same basically in my head, not do this one and then a month later do the rest of it and try to remember how I did it. So that's why the bed's sitting back there waiting. But basically kind of want to get the cab caught up because it's the most far behind now as far as the body work goes. So once I get that hood and stuff in primer, then I'll start on the cab and we'll see how that goes. So anyway guys, let's see how the hood goes. Hey guys, well I have the hood in epoxy primer here. I thought it turned out decent enough. The only bad thing is I missed a dent. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it right there. Can you see it reflect? Yeah, right there. Yeah, missed a dent doing the body work, so unfortunately I'll have to do a little bit of more work to it and then try again. But overall, really happy with it. This is just epoxy primer. I'm going to do the, I guess it's urethane primer on top of that, and then do several layers of that so I can block it down smooth. But overall, I thought it turned out pretty good. I put seam sealer, if you can see it there, seam sealer on this seam right there in the hood. And then I was going to try to get the fenders done today, but I was just running out of time, so I just focused on the hood and got it done. So I'll get this thing moved back in the shop, and I'll probably start on the fenders tomorrow. I'll probably try to knock that dent out over here and get some mud on it before this primer fully cures. And then we'll start on that other primers. We'll see how that turns out. Well, I already have the hood moved inside, but I did get it in that urethane primer. Turned out really nice. I did get that dent over here taken care of, so it's all gone now, which is good. So I do have to block this down. It has a little bit of texture. I did a lot better job on this than I did on the bed. The bed ended up having quite a bit of texture to it when I sprayed this primer. But I tried to do a lot better job of having everything set right and laying it down a lot slicker. And I thought I did a pretty good job. There's still just a little bit of texture on it. But whenever I block that down, that'll all go away. So that'll reduce the amount of blocking I have to do to make it smooth. So hopefully we won't burn through in any spots, but we'll see how that goes. And I did get the fenders all taken care of as well. Those were pretty easy. These were already pretty much body worked when I got them, but they had a few dents and dings just from being transported over the years. So I did get those knocked out, but overall it was pretty much just scuff it down, find a few low spots and dents and take care of that, and then re-prime it. So the fenders are good to go, and they just need to be blocked as well. So now we're just down to the cab basically, and a few little pieces that need to get painted. I did work on this spot right here for the shifter hump, or the transmission hump. This spot that was cut out, I did think about it, and I think that was actually for a 3-speed floor shifter, because I bet the F100 that this truck came out of, that was a low hump. So I don't know if I described this good enough earlier, but the low hump would be, this would all be metal. There's not a raised piece like this on a low hump truck. So they probably had a hole cut out here for a floor shifter, you know, like a 3-speed floor shifter instead of on the column. So that's probably why they had that cut out. And then the guy that was doing work to this cab before I got it was putting it on a highboy truck, so it needs a high hump, and he patched that hole, but it didn't. It just put a piece of flat metal there, which didn't work. So now I have that groove in it that basically fits this. So this fits in there like so. I'll just have to drill the holes for the rest of the bolts there. I'm not using this cover because this is for a highboy 4-speed with the floor shifter. I'm just going to use a solid one, because I'm planning on hopefully doing electric shift on the transfer case. I still haven't got that to work. I do have the transfer case module and the switch and all that stuff, but the plugs for the module have been hard to find, so I don't have those yet. But if I can get that full-wheel drive shift module to work, I'll just do electric shift and have a switch on the dash here somewhere. But if I can't get that to work, I will just put a 4-shifter in it. But just trying to keep the, especially since we're putting the bucket seats in here, trying to keep that floor shifter out of the center, just make it easier to get back and forth if you want to go from the front to the back, you know, that kind of stuff. So, well, you know, that's down the road kind of stuff. Basically, since I can change out the transmission cover there, whichever one I decide to use, it's not a big deal. But yeah, basically all I'm down to now that I can think of is I have to finish body work in the cab. As far as like anywhere where I did welding or all that, I have to fix all that and smooth it all up. Any dents or imperfections that are in the cab, I'm going to take care of. I'm not going to worry about it unless it's on the outside. Like stuff back here, I'm not going to worry about. But you know, stuff like on the B pillars, A pillars, C pillars, that kind of stuff, where you're going to be seeing it, I'll worry about that. And basically the roof, it's got a bunch of hail dents on it, which is going to be a pain. But again, you're never going to see it unless you climb up in the bed and look down on the roof. And I don't know. I'm going to mess with it and see how I get along, but basically that's what I'm down to. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, get this thing knocked out, and hopefully the next time you see this truck, we'll be ready to take it to paint. So fingers crossed that's sometime soon. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the updates on this truck. It's been a real learning experience for me as far as this side of things, the bodywork side of things. I hope you guys enjoy me bringing you guys along for that journey. Hopefully I get it knocked out pretty quick, because I am ready to start on some other projects besides this one, but I don't want to abandon it and just start on something else. I want to get this knocked out. So hopefully we'll be going to paint here pretty soon, and I'll bring you guys along for the ride. Go ahead and subscribe so you see that. Give me a like if you like this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.